Hey, this is Mr. Raman, and in this video, we're going to be reviewing Checkpoint 2, the close read letters. And remember, when you are done with this assignment, to copy and paste it into the Checkpoint 2 link and submit for feedback. Close read text number 2, My Guantanamo Nightmare by Lakhdar Boumediehne. This is a picture of Lakhdar taken in the early 2000s, before he was sent to prison. This is the jail that we will be discussing in his letter, Guantanamo Bay. It is located in Cuba. Here are some images of the prisoners who are kept in Guantanamo Bay. So you see that they are confined and that they have handcuffs on them. And so this is a very tough and strict prison. It's not a normal prison. So the conditions are very rough. Okay. Paragraph 1. Some American politicians say that people at Guantanamo are terrorists, but I have never been a terrorist. Had I been brought before a court when I was seized, my children's lives would not have been torn apart, and my family would not have been thrown into poverty. It was only after the United States Supreme Court ordered the government to defend its actions before a federal judge that I was finally able to clear my name and be with them again. Paragraph 2. When I arrived at work on the morning of October 19, 2001, an intelligence officer was waiting for me. He asked me to accompany him to answer questions. I did so voluntarily, but afterward I was told that I could not go home. The United States had demanded that local authorities arrest me and 5 other men. News reports at the time said that United States believed that I was plotting to blow up its embassy in Sarajevo. I had never for a second considered this. Question 1 under the first read questions. According to paragraph 1, why are people put in Guantanamo? He tells us in the second line, for being terrorists. That is the main reason prisoners are sent to Guantanamo Bay. Question 2, highlight in yellow why Lakhdar was imprisoned. This information can be found at the end of paragraph 2, where he states, news reports at the time said the United States believed that I was plotting to blow up its embassy in Sarajevo. Next, I will show you an image of where Sarajevo is. So if we are located here in Washington, D.C., in Columbia Heights, Sarajevo is located in the country of Bosnia, which is about a 13-hour plane ride from here, next to Greece. So it's very far away. Specifically, Lakhdar is accused of trying to bomb this building, the embassy building of the United States in Bosnia. There are American embassies all over the world. The embassies are used for diplomatic relations. Continuing on to paragraph 3. The fact that the United States had made a mistake was clear from the beginning. Bosnia's highest court investigated the American claim, found that there was no evidence against me, and ordered my release. But instead, the moment I was released, American agents seized me and the 5 others. We were tied up like animals and flown to Guantanamo, the American naval base in Cuba. I arrived on January 20th, 2002. Paragraph 4. I still had faith in American justice. I believed my captors would quickly realize their mistake and let me go. But when I would not give the interrogators the answers they wanted, how could I when I had done nothing wrong? They became more and more brutal. I was kept awake for many days straight. I was forced to remain in painful positions for hours at a time. These are things I do not want to write about. I want only to forget. Question 3 asks, underline the things that happened to him at Guantanamo Bay when he would not confess. The answer could be found in paragraph 4, where he describes, they became more and more brutal. I was kept awake for many days straight. I was forced to remain in painful positions for hours at a time. To give you an example, this image shows a prisoner who is handcuffed and being walked by a soldier around the Guantanamo campus. Look at how he has no freedom to do anything. This next image shows a prisoner who is being carted away due to a medical emergency. There are many reports of prisoners who often get sick or even die under these harsh conditions. Furthermore, you have plenty of prisoners who refuse to eat or have trouble eating, and thus they have tubes stuck up their noses to force food down their throats. So these are some of the injustices that Lakhdar was experiencing. Paragraph 5. I went on a hunger strike for 2 years because no one would tell me why I was being imprisoned. Twice each day, my captors would shove a tube up my nose, down my throat, and into my stomach so they could pour food into me. It was excruciating, but I was innocent, and so I kept up my protest. In 2008, my demand for a fair legal process went all the way to America's highest court. In a decision that bears my name, the Supreme Court declared that the laws and Constitution are designed to survive and remain in force in extraordinary times. It ruled that prisoners like me, no matter how serious the accusations, have a right to a day in court. The Supreme Court recognized a basic truth: the government makes mistakes. And the court said that because the consequence of error may be detention of persons for the duration of hostilities that may last a generation or more, this is a risk too significant to ignore. So this ties us to our next question 4. What was the result of his demand for a fair legal process? Well, we learn that the Supreme Court ruled the U.S. government made a mistake and that Lakhdar should have a fair trial. So there is a case online called Lakhdar versus Bush, which describes all the injustices that Lakhdar faced and how the U.S. government was wrong. Paragraph 7. 5 months later, Judge Richard J. Leon of the Federal District Court in Washington reviewed all of the reasons offered to justify my imprisonment, including secret information I never saw or heard. The government abandoned its claim of an embassy bomb plot just before the judge could hear it. After the hearing, he ordered the government to free me and 4 other men who had been arrested in Bosnia. So if you didn't catch it, basically, the reason he was sent to jail, that bombing, the U.S. government pretty much denied that reason. When they went to court, said Lakhdar was in jail for something different, which kind of shows that things were not truthful. Paragraph 8. I will never forget sitting with the 4 other men in a squalid room at Guantanamo, listening over a fuzzy speaker as Judge Leon read his decision in a Washington courtroom. He implored the government not to appeal his ruling because 7 years of waiting for our legal system to give them an answer to a question so important is, in my judgment, more than plenty. I was freed at last on May 15th, 2009. Question 5. How long was Lakhdar imprisoned? Well, if you do the math, it comes out to 7 years, as he was jailed towards the end of early 2002. And so this concludes the video for the first read. If you need to finish the second read and third read questions, please look at the second video that is in checkpoint 2 that will discuss those questions. Thank you for joining me, and good luck with the rest of your assignment.